Dr. Jha, you are such a versatile personality that I don't know where to begin. Now, you were an ex-ICS officer and former Vice Chancellor of the Sanskrit University in Benares. You are a Sanskrit scholar yourself and author, and now Lieutenant Governor of Delhi. Now, let me begin with your present job. Now, what does it involve? Are you like all other governors?
No, well, I have certain powers, reserved powers, in regard to certain subjects, such as law and order, the services, and also land development, which are entirely my responsibility. And these subjects, besides the transferred subjects, which are dealt with by members of the Executive Council.
Yeah, but are you in touch with the council day to day?
Not day to day, but we meet about once a fortnight, because even with regard to transferred subjects, and it's a matter of policy, the whole council has a sitting.
You have a lot of administrative work.
Yes.
Yes. Are you happy with the way Delhi is administered? Or are you not allowed to say anything?
No, I'm not happy about the way in which Delhi is being administered. Actually, the administration, not only in Delhi, but everywhere in the country, leaves a lot to be desired.
Yeah, that's true. Do you think, coming to a fundamental point, do you think Delhi is a suitable place for capital of India?
Oh, yes.
It's too far away, it's too hot 7 months of the year, and how do you expect things to move if we have the capital in a place like Delhi?
Well, I mean, most places in this country are either very hot during the hot weather and cold during the cold weather. And as far as distance is concerned from the center of the country, these days of improved communications, I don't think that makes much difference.
But when we are talking about national integration and so on, wouldn't you have thought that it's better to have a place like Hyderabad, for instance, as the capital, because the north meets south there, Hindi meets Dravidian languages and Muslim culture and Hindu culture, everything. Wouldn't you have thought that that would have made a better
Delhi
capital?
is as cosmopolitan as Hyderabad might be. We have a large number of people from the south here. Many of them have settled down in Delhi. We have a large number of people from the Punjab, quite a few from Bengal, in different parts of the country. Delhi is not a town that might be called a town belonging to a particular region of the country. It is a cosmopolitan town.
Talking of national integration, you were quoted the other day in the newspapers as saying that you would like Sanskrit to be the national language.
No, not the national language, official language.
Official language. Now, what's the difference?
Well, national language is the language that the common people speak. But official language, which Hindi is at the present moment, is the language that educated people speak or use. Now, we had Persian as the official language during Muslim rule. We had English as the official language during British rule. And I see no reason why Sanskrit, which can be learnt as easily as Persian or English, probably much more easily, should not have been our official language.
But then isn't it going to be like Persian itself? The disadvantage of having English and Persian as official language was that the ordinary people were cut away from the administration and from the judicial system, So wouldn't the same thing happen if you have a language like
It
Sanskrit in
hasn't
the
happened in
courts?
Israel, where
No, but
ancient
in Israel
Hebrew-
everybody speaks Hebrew. I mean,
No,
ordinary
not
people.
the
ordinary people.
official Hebrew.
But it is not a class language in Israel, but Sanskrit will be a class language. It will be the official classes language. So how do we bring in the ordinary
No,
people?
but ancient Hebrew is the official class language. The modern Hebrew is quite different.
Yes, but here we have a population about 70% illiterate, vast peasant population. I mean, if they have some litigation and if they take a case to the court, I mean, they wouldn't understand a word of what's going on there. If
Well,
we
quite
have
a
it
large
in
number of them don't understand a word of Hindi, for that matter.
So, do you think we should have a national language at all?
Well, it would be a good thing to have a national language, but it cannot be imposed. A national language cannot be imposed in the country. An official language can.
You don't think Hindi can be a national language then?
I doubt it.
Because it's too, it is really a regional language.
It is really a regional language. I mean, all that can be said in favor of Hindi is that more people speak Hindi in this country than any other language.
But the South Indians are not going to accept
Yes,
it,
I don't think so.
and that'll be a problem. But is it feasible, I'm coming back to Sanskrit, is it feasible to have Sanskrit even as an official language? I mean, isn't it would you call it a dead language or
Well, it is. It may be called a dead language in the sense that few people speak that
Yes.
language now. But any language can be revived. If people start speaking Sanskrit, the Sanskrit itself will be, the language itself will develop
Yes.
so that many people will be able to follow it. Of course, what makes Sanskrit very difficult is the insistence on grammar.
Yes.
Now, I don't think that should be insisted upon. You see, just as...
You think we can change the grammar,
no,
simplify it?
we can teach Sanskrit by the direct method, just as people in the UK are taught English by the direct method. They don't have as many grammatical lessons as we used to have in English.
But Hindi, among Indian languages spoken today, Hindi is probably the closest to Sanskrit, isn't it?
No.
No? What other language would you say?
Well, Maharashtrian,
Yes.
then Gujarati, Bengali,
Yes.
Maithili.
Do you think Hindi is an easy language to learn for somebody who is not Hindi speaking? I mean, compared to Sanskrit?
Well, you see, Hindi has one peculiar difficulty that foxes, many people say, in Bengal.
Yes.
You know, verbs in Hindi have genders. Dr. Sunita Kumar Chatterjee once said, well, how can you expect us Bengalis to learn a language in which moustache is feminine,
Yes.
or where the police is feminine?
Yeah. But would you prefer a common script instead of a common language?
Yes, I would prefer a common script. Justice
Yes.
Mitter used to, many used to, he used to bring out a magazine
Yes.
in the Devanagari script, but the language used in the various articles, languages used were regional languages, and it was quite easy for most people to
Yes.
follow the articles
Yes.
because there is common Sanskrit words
Script.
in almost every article, and the script was the Devanagari
Yes.
script.
Yes. So we would still have the three language formula, I suppose, except that instead of Hindi, everybody would learn Sanskrit. Is
Yes.
that what you have in mind?
Yes, that is what I
Good. What about the Hindi that is now used? What about the Hindi on the AIR?
Well, I'm afraid the Hindi that is used on the AIR is not easily understood even in the Hindi-speaking regions
Yeah.
by the cultivators, by the common people.
But are people doing anything about it?
Well, the Hindi, if it is to be understood by the large majority of the people, even in non-Hindi speaking areas, should borrow as many words and as freely as possible from different languages.
Yeah.
Now, they're very expressive words. For instance, the rope that is used for drawing water from a well. Now, in the rural areas of UP, the rope is called ubarni.
Yeah.
Now, that would be much more easily followed then pani nikalne ki ka rajju or something like that. Or there's the very expressive word used in Bombay, khalas.
Yeah.
I don't see why khalas should not become common usage in word of common usage in Hindi.
Yes.
There are many other words, very expressive words, which can be adopted by Hindi without Hindi having recourse to coinages from Sanskrit.
Yeah. Apart from Sanskrit, what are your other interests? Major interests?
English literature.
Yes.
And, because that was my subject for my MA.
Yeah.
And of course, as a result of during my service career, I've had to do a good deal with economic development. So
Yeah.
economics, botany, horticulture.
Yes. You have written a number of books too, haven't you?
I'm in the process of writing a number of books. The only book that has been published so far is a book in Hindi called Bharatiya Darshanon Ka Samanvay, Synthesis of Indian Systems Philosophy.
What's the book you're writing now?
One on Ganesh,
Yeah.
another on public administration, third on the short stories Sanskrit.
Short stories in Sanskrit. What's the book on Ganesh about?
Well, all about him. I mean, whether he is one of the Vedic gods or not.
Yeah.
Then from the iconographical angle, the different images of Ganesh,
Yeah.
both in this country as well as abroad, because Ganapati was adopted by Buddhism.
Yes.
And you find sculptures of Ganesh as far afield as Japan and Manchuria,
Yes.
of course Java and what's called Greater Asia.
Is he a religious god? I mean, was he a religious god from the beginning, or did he start as a
Well, there
folk?
are two
character?
views. The orthodox view is that he is mentioned even in the Rig Veda, but the more modern scholars think that he was one of the aboriginal gods who was adopted subsequently by Hinduism.
Yeah. But what does Ganesh represent? He seems to be all things to all men, or is there anything?
Well, Ganesh
Particularly he
primarily
stands to-
represents somebody who removes obstacles
Yes.
and wards off evil. He is the god of wisdom. He is the male opposite of the goddess Saraswati. He is the god of wisdom. He is the god of wealth, and he is a god who wards off evil influences.
Yeah. So this takes up most of your spare time now,
Yes.
writing books. Do you? You told me once you play tennis.
Yes.
Do you play it regularly now?
No, not since 1962, as is quite evident from my weight.
Yeah. When did you play? Were you a champion?
Well, I was in the university first string in India, and also I got my college colors at Oxford when I was serving my probation there.
Yes. But do you think you can't play it now?
Well, I can, but there's an age beyond which, rigorous games are not possible. Of course, I can still play men's doubles.
Yes. Would you regard yourself as a typical ICS product?
I don't think there is any typical ICS product. You see, the ICS has its has all sorts of people, has had all sorts of people, some very foolish, some very wise, some who are versatile, some who are scholars.
But did they constitute a class in the old days?
They constituted a class in the sense that they were more highly paid
That's all.
than any other civil servant. That's one. The second thing was that they were trusted a lot more than other civil servants.
But how did you get on to ICS?
Well, in my days, we used to have two exams. One was held in India, which is very difficult because there were only 2 or 3 vacancies allotted to the Indian exam, whereas nearly 80 or 90 vacancies were allotted to the exam held in London. And it was really a toss-up whether you got into the ICS or became an excise inspector.
Yeah.
It's quite a.
You passed the exam here,
I passed the exam here, yes.
and then you went to England
Then I went to
for
England.
training.
Yes,
You were at Oxford.
Oxford.
Yes. Thank you very much. Then, would you like to have a look at
Yes, I would very much. Oh, you produced Ganesh also there.